Okay, welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. And today we're going to be talking about the Yankees' 6-3 loss to the Seattle Mariners. Before we get started, just want to let you guys know at any point, if you like what you're hearing, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Be sure to hit the like button, drop a comment, and you could follow us at Yankees Unloaded, at Gary Sheffield Jr., and at JK Bogan. Gary, this game, frustrating. Is the word that really comes to mind. I thought, I almost like Colton Schmidt. I don't even know who that is. Coulter Bean. There's a name. I figured I'd throw one out there.
Were you about to say Colton because you said Clayton Andrews? Ladies and gentlemen, before this actual show started, we were having a whole meltdown about Clayton Andrews pitching at all in this game.
They probably were too, to be fair.
Yeah, we were just basically discussing why this happened, why a dude who's 5'6", $160, soaking wet is pitching for the New York Yankees. The broadcast talked about his stuff. We'll discuss it further. But yeah, Jake, overall, this whole game, outside of Gleyber Torres' 3-run jack, there wasn't much to watch. That's really all I can say. It really wasn't that fun. I thought Clark Schmidt was pretty good. ZRA is 2.59. That's all you can ask. You go 5 and give up 2, we should win that game. You actually mentioned our golden numbers, about 4 or 5 runs. If we score 4 or 5 runs, we're going to win.
Yep.
Yeah. And we didn't do that. It feels like every time we don't score 4 runs, we lose. And it just holds true today. So I felt like yesterday we lost all momentum, of course, just diarrheaing down our leg with that loss. And you come into today and it's like, okay.
I love that you created a verb there.
Yeah, diarrheaing. We've lost all momentum. And one thing I know for certain, this Seattle Mariners team can pitch. So I talked all day yesterday about their offense just being buns. It's not good. Anyone will tell you, people who cover the Mariners will tell you, this team does not score runs. But if you give up 6 to the Seattle Mariners, you've lost. I'm just telling you guys, this is forewarning. And the Yankees have done it 2 days in a row. So if that happens, you lost. I'm just here to tell you. So yeah, you go 0 for 7 between Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. We're not going to score. I mean,
0 for 10,
obviously our 2 best players have to show up. They didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a frustrating day offensively. Not much action. We struck out 9 times. We walked twice. You've got to tip your cap. You mentioned it. Is it Wu?
Brian Wu. He
Good
is
Lord.
him.
Dude is nasty. Everyone on Seattle is nasty. Every starting pitcher, his ERA is 0.57. I know that he's not, I think this was his second start of the year.
Yeah, but
I don't care what it is. He's nasty.
He got the certified stamp of approval. The only guy who wasn't really good today was Spire. I mean, Stanek came in and he looked really good, and Munoz came in, and I don't want to see Munoz anymore. I'm good on him, but yeah, today was just kind of like yesterday in a different way, right? Both frustrating, but yesterday you're supposed to win those games. You outplayed them, you dominated them until the final inning. In this game, you had a shot, but you were outplayed. Clark Schmidt gave you every opportunity to win this game. The bats weren't really going. And, it was one of those games that was really frustrating also because, Gary, they're getting good contact and it's like right at guys. And it's just like, also when they came out this lineup today, I'm sorry, Trent Grisham has got to go. I do not want him in the lineup, man. He is an automatic out. He's batting 0.56. I get the sentiment that, Frazier was trying to say on the broadcast. He needs to get more reps. He needs to get more at bats. I'm sorry. He needs to get less. He needs to get fewer. I don't want to see him anymore.
Can I defend him at least a little bit?
I'm not going to.
I'm not going to defend Frazier's comment. No, he doesn't need more reps. Okay, he probably in defense to Todd Frazier.
He's a great defensive player. I know.
He probably needs more reps to hit better. I'm sure of it.
Well, that's what he was saying.
But who doesn't?
No, exactly.
What player that's ever existed other than like Raul Ibanez off the bench, needs more reps to be ready. Every player,
He was always ready to go.
Yeah, he was just born ready.
Yeah.
So let's be clear. Any player in the history of baseball other than Raul Ibanez is going to benefit from getting more at bats. They're going to feel more comfortable. They can get their feet wet. They know what they're doing well. They know what they're not. They can work on stuff. Trent Grisham is not in a position for that to happen. But again, Trent Grisham's role is to not hit at all. Every once in a while, he'll shock you with a bomb.
He did a great job of that today.
Jake, his only job, I'm not kidding you, is, and he does it well, defensively, play a sharp center field, get Aaron Judge off his feet in center field, allow him to DH for the day, and you essentially give Giancarlo Stanton a full day off his feet. And the Yankees have deployed that maybe once or twice a week. I'd say once a week. We're going to see a full Trent Grisham start where he bats ninth and we allow other guys to stay healthy. And that's his role. And trust me when I tell you, Jake, do I enjoy watching Trent Grisham at bats? No. They're not great. They really aren't. It's like a pitcher's hitting, right? And I want to give him a little more respect, but he's going to hit a $195. He's going to hit like 7 jacks. He's going to hit like 2 bombs on a random day, okay, next month. And people are going to say, oh, wow, Trent Grisham. And then he's going to go ice cold again for a month and a half. But Jake, his role is to be completely useless offensively. Periodically, every once in a blue moon, he sparks and hits a bomb, and then he plays a solid center field. In my opinion, he's doing it. Can the Yankees upgrade there? Probably. But given who he is, there's no other role that he should be in that's higher than the one he's in right now.
I think he's a replaceable player who I don't want to put the entire loss on him, but I mean, you see him in the lineup and you got to think, going up against a playoff caliber team in Seattle, a team that you could be facing come wild card. You might even be going to Seattle if you don't, I don't like it. I understand. Yeah, you got to have off days. Why wasn't that happening during the White Sox series? To me, it's a timing thing. And I just think going up against Seattle Mariners, we've seen it now, Clay Holmes yesterday. I mean, there was more to it than that. He was overdue to give up a run and have a bad outing, but overused in a meaningless series against a bad baseball team. Frankly, they were dominated in a series I didn't think the Yankees really were going to dominate them in. I mean, it didn't even feel like we got the best out of the Yankees in that series, and they still it didn't even feel close. And so, I mentioned the Holmes thing, and now in a meaningful game against a potential, contender in the AL, and you're trotting Trent Grisham out there in game 2 of a 4-game set. And I'm just sitting there like, you're coming off a brutal loss, a game that you should have won yesterday. And then you put Trent Grisham out there in center field.
Okay, so you don't like the timing.
I hate the timing. I don't really like Trent Grisham at all because I just don't like guys that I don't care how good your defense is. I mean, I feel like we use this all the time in, like, say, the NBA. Everyone's like, oh, well, he's good at defense. Well, that's great, but he contributes nothing. The difference between the NBA and baseball is in the NBA, if you contribute nothing scoring-wise, that's okay. Someone else can pick up the scoring. When you contribute nothing at the plate, we don't have a choice. You're hitting 3-4 times, and you are essentially a stone in the water. That's what's happening. And so, yeah, I don't want to put it all on him, but it's just like seeing this lineup today. It's a little different. It's not super different, but not having Stanton in it, I understand you want to give him the day off, but then seeing Grisham in center field, it just kind of feels like, oh, okay, so today we have a chance of losing.
Well, so if Stanton is not playing, okay, that means by definition the DH role is open. Mm-hmm. The Yankees feel like if the DH spot's open because Giancarlo's not playing, usually Aaron Boone decides if a guy's got a power slider, we're going to stay away from Giancarlo Stanton. That's what Boone seems to do. He seems to pick his spots. The guy have a really sharp slider. I'm going to stay away from Giancarlo. And based on the stuff we saw today, that made a lot of sense, right? So no complaints there. Giancarlo stands out of the lineup. DH is open. The Yankees feel most confident with Aaron Judge taking up the DH spot because they want to get him off his feet. So now that we say that he's at DH, who plays center field for the Yankees?
No, I hear you, but
that's the question, because if let's just say, and by the way, I completely agree with what you're saying, but also if Aaron Judge plays center field and Giancarlo is having a full day off at the same time, that means that when Giancarlo eventually, in order to get Aaron Judge to the DH spot, which the Yankees want to do a lot, what that essentially just means more days off for Giancarlo. So they feel like they have to time the days off with Judge's DH spots, if that makes sense. So it's almost like a double whammy, right? You take Giancarlo out the lineup and you have got to put Aaron Judge at DH. So my question is if Trent Grisham, you don't like him in center field because I've given you the pros to him, right? Trent Grisham is just a solid center fielder. He's not going to hit. He's a good locker room guy. Like there's no problems at all with him as a teammate. And he's just going to kind of be slotted down there 8 or 9, not going to do nothing offensively, but he will play a good center field. So I guess the question is that a good enough, a strong enough reason to put him in the lineup to maintain the health of Giancarlo and Aaron Judge? Or is anyone else in the entire organization capable of playing a solid enough center field combined with their bat to where they can play over Trent Grisham? Because I personally, I'm not sure. Like, yeah, maybe if Jason Dominguez was, you know what's funny about this, by the way, that I'm even dabbling into this Jason Dominguez conversation, is that even if Jason Dominguez was called up, the Yankees wouldn't want him on this roster.
No.
Because think about it this way. What are you going to do? Jason Dominguez is going to play once a week? Or you're going to wait for Giancarlo to not be DHing?
We already saw it with Peraza. Peraza just got sent to AAA.
It's part of the reason why we have good problems, because everyone just assumes because Jason Dominguez has a higher ceiling than like a Verdugo or a Trent Grisham, that means that you're going to be on the team in the big leagues. And that's not what that means. Because a lot of times, if they're not ready for you to fill the role that they're ready for, you're not on the team. So I guess the best way I can define that is if Jason Dominguez is in the big leagues, it's because he's playing center field every day. He's not backing up. So part of the reason Trent Grisham's on this team is because he has no chance. There's no conversation about who should be playing center field every day. He's just a fill-in guy. And yeah, Jake, there definitely are players who are better than him and can fill this role, but the Yankees don't want to take away their full-time at-bats in AAA, and they don't want to put guys, like, they frankly don't feel that confident with the other outfielders on their bench in the roster. So I just think it is what it is.
Yeah, it's just my thing is, if you were like, so Stanton was in the lineup 3 straight days in a row against the White Sox. So the timing matters.
Yes.
And I feel like, again, I don't want to rip Boone, but these are things that I look at and I'm like, it's not like another sport. Baseball, anybody can win at any given time. But if you have 3 games against a team that has won 4 games on the road and you've already played this is their 50th game of the year. I'm sorry, you have an idea of what they are. They're not a good team. And so by going all out and playing your starters, and then against the Mariners, you're going to be like, yeah, they only have 4 games this year, I believe, against the Mariners, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, they have 8 because they have the games in Seattle.
Yes.
So they have a 4-game set at Yankee Stadium. Oh, sorry, 7 games. They have 3 games at Seattle. That's tiebreaker territory, man. Like I know people don't want to hear it because they're currently looking at the Yankees in first place and they're like, yeah, like we're gonna win the AL East, but there's a very real possibility the Yankees lose the AL East at the very end of the season. And now these losses to the Mariners, this second game, because you had Trent Grisham in there, you didn't have your best lineup in there, maybe set an ugly tone early on, and whatever. That's what I'm gonna remember. And so again, not trying to sound like, hindsight Hank. It's just it's something I'm going to be consistent in my approach and my belief. And, I didn't like the way Clay Holmes was utilized 3 of the 4 games. And I did not like the way, Trent Grisham's playing in a meaningful series against the Mariners, but doesn't show up in the White Sox series.
Yeah, that's all timing related. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. If you don't pitch Clay Holmes the last 2 games of that White Sox series, you are not viewing Clay Holmes as a guy who frankly shouldn't be pitching the opening game of this series. You would never say that. If he didn't pitch that final game against Chicago, we wouldn't be having the conversation at all about his usage.
No.
We wouldn't be talking at all. I mean, they brought it up on the broadcast before the closing appearance even started. They said, oh, wow, okay, well, we weren't necessarily expecting to see Holmes. That conversation wouldn't have been had. Now, I guess the question is, and as simply put, why did he pitch twice in that Chicago series? Because if you ask me or anybody else in the comments, any
they want
Yankees
to keep
fan with
fresh.
sense, fresh.
That's why.
What are we saying? Okay, because
that's what I mean.
Anyone, Jake, the best stat anyone brought up, they brought this up on Yes Today. The Yankees have had 50 starts. 50. Okay, where they went 4 innings or more. That leads Major League Baseball. Okay? That means, by definition, our bullpen is being used less than any other team.
Or should be.
In theory, should be. Okay?
Yeah.
So those are ways that you manage arms. Okay? That's a perfect way, which, by the way, Aaron Boone deserves a ton of credit for allowing that to happen, as well as guys doing their jobs. But Jake, you can't sit here and tell me that type of output warrants pitching one of the best closers in the game 2 days in a row against the worst team in Major League Baseball. A lot of people look at like teams like Oakland and all these teams. No, those teams pitch well in the back end of their bullpen. Chicago's good at nothing other than having Tommy Pham. Okay? They're not good at anything. They don't pitch well. They don't field well. They don't run well. They don't do anything well. So there's no reason that days off shouldn't have been used in that series. Towards the end of the series, you say, hey, guys, we've already got 2 under our belt. This final game of the series, we've already got the series win. Let's go try to get a win, but get guys off their feet. We've got a quick turnaround against Seattle the following series, a series that, frankly, Jake, you brought up a point. We might see Seattle. We might see them in Seattle in October, or they might come to Yankee Stadium. These games matter. These are not the games to give guys a days off. Like, that doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense.
That was my point, but also to get we'll wrap that part up, but to do that, I mean, Trent Grisham is 2 for 39. I mean, that's not major league hitter quality.
Hold on, he's 2 for 39?
He's 2 for 39. That's my issue. He's 2 for 39. He's had 2 hits all year. One of them's a home run, but he struck out 14 of those 39 at-bats.
Right. So, again, he's on the team.
Entirely for defense. But
he's a defender who has no opportunity to increase his role.
That's what it is. The problem you run into is if, this is a team that grinds out at bats, although today they struck out 9 times, but they grind out at bats and they get on base. And you see, how many times do you see guys with runs, but they have no hits on the Yankees? They just find ways to get on. I mean, right. Rizzo gets plunked. That's his thing. But when you have those runners on, it's bases loaded, 2 outs, and Grisham comes to the plate. It's like, oh, okay, it's Jover. Like, like that's my issue. It's just a giant, it's a weight. It's like I said,
he's a black hole.
He is a black hole in the lineup, and it's just really, he's not the reason they lost. He's not the entire reason anyway, but he had something to do with it.
Well, Jake, there's your answer right there. That's the reason Trent Grisham plays. He has a large part. The Yankees have to decide, would we rather have a black hole once a week in the lineup who plays a solid center field and keeps Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton healthy? Or would they rather have a guy who's much more serviceable, who they have to play more often? And maybe we don't keep Giancarlo and Judge as healthy, right? So that's essentially what the trade-offs are, because you have to remember, if we have a better player than Trent Grisham on the bench in the outfield, he can go 3 for 4 in a series. If Trent Grisham hit 3 bombs tomorrow, you think I'm wasting my breath on this Shure microphone talking about Trent Grisham should be playing center field tomorrow? No. He can hit 4 homers in a game. He shouldn't play. He shouldn't play more than once a week. So that's part of the reason why the Yankees deploy him, because he plays a solid center field. He will not demand a bigger role. He will keep guys healthy. So there you go. So, I mean, that's essentially my conclusion about it. Yeah, he's an atrocious hitter, but he knows his role. And if the Yankees lose, they're not going to be like, they're going to say what you just said, Jake. The reason we lost today is not because of Trent Grisham. He didn't help us win, but we didn't lose because of Trent Grisham. We lost because Aaron Judge and Juan Soto were 0 for 7, right? Anthony Volpe was 1 for 4. We struck out 9 times, walked twice. That's
Dennis
a team
Santana
issue.
giving up 2 runs.
Right. So if the Yankees feel like we're the best team in the American League, which I just said yesterday, I said we were the best team in Major League Baseball. The best team in Major League Baseball doesn't turn and go, yeah, we lost today because of Trent Grisham. No. You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. So the Yankees figure, let's keep the guys healthy, and the other guys have to win the games. And that's what it is.
I think it's a matter of, if you're 2 for 39, at some point or another, yeah, okay, defense and all that, but you can't find somebody in AAA, AA that could play defense at a above average clip and hit better than 56?
Well, those guys that can do that, Jake, the Yankees feel like they have trade chip value, like throw-ins for trades. Because you have to remember, those guys who are actually better hitters than Trent Grisham and play actual major league center field, like a major league quality center field for the Yankees, those guys who can do that actually have value. So you don't want to bring a guy who has value and then have him go face Woo and all these dudes, because there's no way to deplete your value more than to face dudes like that. You know what I mean?
True.
So like, but it's really difficult. It's hard.
It is. It's also difficult when, it's a, 4-3 game. Gleyber Torres smokes a 3-run shot. You feel like you're back in the game. And then it's like Aaron Boone forgets that it's not 4-1 anymore. It's 4-3. We have a ball game. Don't just throw out anybody. And he throws out 5'6" Clayton Andrews, who you were talking about.
Who the hell is that?
And look, I mean, let's not put it all on him, because, I mean, Santana gave up 2 runs. He gave up 3 hits. He was bad.
His ERA is now 5.
His ERA is now 5. I'm out on Santana. I think it's time to send him down or, DFA him. It's time for, I don't know why the hell Marinaccio was sent down to begin with. Really don't have any sort of baseball reasoning behind that. There's not any analysis you and I could really do to really explain it. His ERA was sub 2, and he was looking as good as he's ever been with the Yankees, and they sent him down. And, I think you and I kind of thought, okay, the Yankees don't plan on pitching him within the next 5 games or whatever, so give AAA a little beef in their bullpen. No, he just has not come back since. And I don't know why, because he's better than Ferguson. He's better than Andrews. He's better than Santana. I mean, I don't get it, but whatever. Yeah, Gary, Clayton Andrews got set down right after this game. I do feel bad for him. His first pitch, and he gives
He had
up
to
a
go
home
race in
run.
the Kentucky Derby. That's what he had to do.
Short jokes, man. But yeah, I mean, the game's not just on Grisham. It's not just on Andrews. It's not just on Santana. It's a collective, effort. And the Yankees only put up 5 hits today. They were out hit, double. I mean, you had Garver and France have 2 hits. That Moore guy couldn't stop hitting. He had 3. He had 2 jacks. I mean,
Brian Wu dominated the game. As soon as we
Brian
showed up,
Wu closed the door. Is like you walked into the house, and while you were walking, he slammed the door right in your face and broke your nose. That was Brian Wu. Hey, welcome to my humble abode. Oh, just kidding. Slammed the door right in your face, broken nose, blood everywhere. Brian Wu was not letting you in his house, and he was in the Yankees' house. He was at Yankee Stadium, and people always joke, oh, these random pitchers just always seem to have great games against the Yankees. And I saw
he's not
people
random.
saying that he's not random, guys. This is somebody that our show prepared you for right before we ended it. Don't you remember? You and I were talking about him. It's like he's only pitched 9 2/3 innings, but his stats were ridiculous. And I mean, he kind of showed us. I mean, I think he definitely showed us. We've had the privilege, just as baseball fans, to watch some great talent. And Brian Wu is going to be somebody that's a force to be reckoned with for a long time. He's 24 years old. He had no issue pitching under the bright lights in the Bronx. And he struck out, 7 batters. And this lineup is disgusting. I mean, he went up against Volpe, Soto, Judge, Verdugo, Rizzo, Wells. I don't think he saw Stanton because Stanton pitch hit later on, and Trevino did as well. But Torres, Cabrera, Grisham, this is the second start he's had this year, I think, or his third. But
second or third, but he's been completely dominant.
He was outstanding. A .57 ERA, doesn't really give up runs. And, I think I don't think the Yankees had any sort of game plan against him. I mean, he came out firing and was, really a problem. His breaking ball was really getting to Volpe. Although Volpe later on in the game did extend his hitting streak to 14 games and extend his on base streak to 18, which does have value in my opinion. But yeah,
and we got Bryce Miller tomorrow, by the way. So the Seattle's, like I told you before the series started, we were saying, and trust me, I don't want to get on Yankees fans for not knowing who the hell these pitchers are. Some of them they know, others they don't. Maybe Wu is a household name for some people, but Seattle's a small market. Okay. Like I know everyone's like, they don't like to cover us. They hate us. No, certain teams aren't covered for a reason. There aren't really a ton of people in Boston watching the Seattle Mariners. Okay. At 11:45 at night. Just doesn't happen. So I get why some of these guys aren't known. We have busy lives, but I'm here to tell you guys right now. Wu, Bryce Miller, Castillo, right?
Oh yeah, they gave up the farm for Castillo a few years
They gave up
back.
the farm, a player that we basically were freaking out they got rid of, and it didn't matter. That's why I always try to tell people, just because a team trades in their biggest chips, that doesn't mean those chips are going to be worth shit. It doesn't mean that. Okay. Because you have to remember that player is now being traded from the top of that organization and they're being developed by another organization. Right. So we don't necessarily know what's going to happen. Anthony Volpe, because I remember he was a huge talk in that trade. Remember that? It was Anthony Volpe to go get Castillo.
They wanted Volpe, they wanted Jason Dominguez, and they wanted Peraza, right. And the Yankees said no.
Right. But here's the crazy part. Anthony Volpe could have turned into Jesus Montero. There's no assurance with any of these prospects. That's why it's I would say it's easy in hindsight to say, hey, yeah, well, we should have never traded Anthony Volpe. We always knew it, right? But the San Diego Padres have been aggressive, right? In all these trades, they seemingly will send anybody. They don't care. and they'll go get guys. They'll go get Sotos. They'll go get Arias from Miami and just send players. Who cares? And they do it. So yeah, long story short, this Seattle team got really aggressive to shore up this rotation. They're young. They've also got some vet guys who are proven. And if the Yankees can't score, we're going to lose all these games. Just here to tell you right now.
And
there's no
27
team
and
that can
22.
there's no team that can shut you down more than Seattle. That's what I'm here to tell you. If you didn't watch the Seattle Mariners all year, that's perfectly fine by me, but you're going to learn about them. At least when they come into the stadium, you're going to know who they are. And we blew game 1, and I knew from then it's a dogfight. Now we're going to really struggle to take this series even at home. And now it's going to be, now we're just trying to take a game at this point. So I know it doesn't feel good. It sucks to get punched in the jaw twice, especially by a team that you consider a little brother in the league. But I mean, let's be honest. A lot of these teams, especially in 2024, when you got guys up there throwing 98 to 100, wipe out sliders, wipe out changeups, it can get ugly quick. So you got to find ways to get off the mat, get a win. We need a win badly tomorrow. It's not going to upend the season or anything like that. The way that we said it was going to. Remember that, Jake? We split with Oakland. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, this team's not the real deal. We suck." And then I try to remind people, Baltimore didn't beat Oakland either. So you can't really look too much into these games, but yeah, I'm expecting a more competitive lineup tomorrow.
I hear you, man. Yeah, I have to remind people because you're already seeing it in full force on Yankees Twitter. Everyone freaking out, 2 straight, all that, and it's just like I understand, but this is a team that's 33-17. Okay, I mean right now they are essentially in the thick of it for the top team in the league. Only the Philadelphia Phillies have a better record. They're tied currently with the Dodgers. How about the Cleveland Guardians, by the way? The Guardians are half game back or game back. But that Seattle team, I mean, you had mentioned it. They were struggling, but now all of a sudden it seems like their bats are starting to wake up. If the Yankees aren't careful, they could absolutely be swept. And it starts with that first game. And we talk about it all the time. Momentum is everything in sports. And yeah, you just have to stop the bleeding. And tomorrow you got Heel on the mound. And I feel good about tomorrow. You're still at Yankee Stadium, but keep in mind, after this series, man, it's a little brutal. Because you have to go on the road right away from a 4-game series. They haven't had a break since, I want to say, Monday, May 13th. And so they won't get a break until, let's see here. The next break they'll get, if I'm reading this correctly, May 27th. So
They have 6 days. I mean, I get it.
That'll be on the road with San Diego.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Yankees also know at some point in June, we're going to more than likely push out to a 6-man rotation. So hopefully reinforcements are coming there. We just gave guys a day off today, right? Grisham got in there. We got Stanton off his feet. Judge got to
Have you seen June, by the way?
No, I haven't.
June's schedule is insane. The way the league is shaped up. All right. So Minnesota, obviously little brother there coming to the stadium. They have San Francisco at the beginning.
Okay.
That'll be on the road. That'll be a cool little series. Then they have the Dodgers. We'll be at one of those games.
Yep.
They got Sunday Night Baseball against the Dodgers on ESPN. So that'll be interesting. Then they have a 4-game set in Kansas City, who's actually one of the best teams in the league, and people aren't really talking about them. The Red Sox are kind of just the Red Sox. Then they have the Orioles.
I couldn't tell you who's on that. I could not tell you who's on that Kansas City team. I have, other than Witt Jr., I've got no.
I don't know. Are they about to do it again? Are they really about to run it back like they did years ago when they beat the Mets?
No.
But no, look, Minnesota, Dodgers, Royals, Orioles, and Braves all in June. Dude, that is insane.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty crazy.
They've
But
had a pretty ridiculous first half schedule, but they're 33-17 regardless. So we'll see what ends up happening. Excited to watch Heel tomorrow. That game tomorrow is on at 7:05. And then, Gary, we have a really stupid game time you're not ready for on Thursday. 12:35 Eastern time.
so that game, just for clarity, that game starts at 9:35. I'm 100% missing the beginning of that game. I will be in REM sleep by the third inning.
I'm going to be on the golf course, so we'll probably record that later on. I just noticed that it was 12:35. That's a horrible time. Actually, I'm wrong. Heel is starting Thursday against Castillo, and Cortez is starting tomorrow. So I feel worse about tomorrow.
Well, that's the importance of game one. So, I mean, it is what it is. There's going to be ugly series. It just happens. Like, the great teams aren't going to win every series. I'm just here to tell you right now. There was like a random series. I literally swear to God, you can watch the Los Angeles Dodgers, who people project to be there at the top in the end of the season. We just assume, hey, we're probably going to see LA, we're going to see Atlanta, Philadelphia, and the best teams in Major League Baseball, they can stop the bleeding. That's their job. You just don't want to lose 3, 4, 5 games in a row and then figure it out, get hot. That's not what you want to do. Those are for the wild card teams. But the teams who want to win divisions, win World Series, those teams have to find ways, instead of turning a 4-game losing streak, stop it at 2 against a really good Seattle team. We've got to get off the mat. I said this in that, remember that Houston series? I said, Houston is in a position right now where they can just lay down or they can get up and punch back. And the Yankees are in that position right now. They're in that position where you need to show some championship pedigree. Horrible game 1 loss. What are you guys really made of? Everyone knows what we're made of when we're hitting homers and spinning shutouts and going 8 strong innings. But who are you when you lose a game you shouldn't, and then you go get waxed in game 2? Who are you in game 3? So that's what we're going to find out tomorrow. I think it's really important to see what the heartbeat of this team's like when they're actually facing adversity, because they are right now. And so we're going to see what happens. I'm excited, actually.
We are. I mean, to piggyback off your statement about the Astros, they're now 22-27. You know, they've won 8 of their last 10. So they used that one win in that series, one win, and that's all it took to change it. So, yeah, it's funny how baseball works. A 33-17 team, you could argue, has a must-win game tomorrow, but that's the way momentum is in a 162-game season. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in. You can follow us at Yankees Unloaded. Follow Gary at Gary Sheffield Jr. Follow me at JK Bogan. Be sure to like, subscribe, and, of course, comment. And we will see you guys in the next video. You guys take care.
And like this video.